So this is another West Village $1 million listing. This one's just 1.1 million. It's another house with no parking and a kind of enclosed patio backyard. This is the first floor of the house. This one's only 1.1 million. We just looked at a house that's 1.25 million that's on a better block. And I'm sure that house overall is going to be kind of better, but that house had its kitchen in the basement. And this house has a big enough area for a dining room. In fact, I'm sure it was a separate room before they knocked out a wall and made this kitchen more modern. Then it's got this kitchen, and then the kitchen opens directly onto the backyard. This backyard is not as long and it's not as sunny. This kitchen is also not as big. These windows are single pane windows that are older. Still, I think there are probably more people who like that. You can see also that like this backs up to commercial spaces. That's a commercial building over there with the water bottles sitting waiting to be employed. This might be a narrower house. It has another door that goes into the dining room there, as well as this one that goes to the kitchen. It has very tall windows. I just like it. I like this. I think I like this first floor, maybe because they put in the bright flowers. I don't know. The other first floor was just a living room and a dining room with no kitchen, because the kitchen was downstairs in the basement, which I've seen a lot in Washington. It doesn't scare me off. But, you know, I kind of like this better. It's a small living room, obviously. Its focal point is this fireplace, where you would get in anything else, like a TV. I don't know. There is no half bath on the first floor. Another drawback. The other house had no half bath in the basement where the kitchen was, but it did have a half bath on the first floor. It just has a shallow closet here. Anyway, it does have a skylight. The other house did not have a skylight. I think it cost about $5,000 to put a skylight in. So clearly this was carved out later, I think, just because of the way it's laid out. So here's a bedroom. It's not as big as the master bedroom in the other place. It is in better shape, but it has older windows. Does have its own bathroom, which also has a skylight, which may have been where previously there was a kind of transom on a chain that you pulled to ventilate your bathroom. Because this is all so tightly wound, this is a pocket door. They've installed a pocket door, which actually, it's hard to pull out, but they've installed a pocket door, because that way you can shut the door to the bathroom, and the door doesn't have to swing in or out, because there is no space, or not much, either in or out here. Anyway, there's our skylight again. Here we have a curved wall. There's a lot of that in DC. Here we have a closet, and here are the guts of the Space Pack Central Air. This house had Central Air added later, as almost any house in this vintage would have. Space Pack Central Air, as we have seen in some other houses, has these small places that the cold air exhausts from, and it's flexible tubes that go in those small spaces between floors. Here we have another window down onto the patio, and of course, since it originally didn't have central air, it never had central heat either. They maintained the radiators. Radiators are very popular in DC. A lot of people like to keep the radiator heat in an older house. There may be even places that are building new houses where they put in some kind of radiant floor system or radiator heat. Here's the back bedroom, which is truly teeny. It's really a study or a sewing room or a baby's room, partly because they added this closet It doesn't have a radiator, so they've added this electrical heat unit. It's not baseboard, it's actually in the wall. And then there's a bathroom. It's a fairly modern bathroom, so I'll bet you that there's a good chance that this and the small back bedroom, children's room all used to be one room. And they carved this bedroom out of the this bathroom out of the bedroom. It's a fairly good sized bathroom. And when they did that, it also has a skylight. As you can see, a brand new skylight. When they did that, they ended up with an incredibly teeny back bedroom. So, now we can compare the downstairs. It is technically a detached house, semi-detached. It is not attached to a house on the side, although as you can see, the next house over is about 3 feet away. But it does mean that you get a window and you could let in some light and air if you wanted to. This also has the older hardwood floors. I'm not sure that these are pine, they might be. Both these houses had very old vintage of floor. I think the floor here has been replaced with something newer and more processed. Then we have the basement. The basement's very carpeted. The basement looks to me like the kind of place that if it had its own separate entrance would have been turned into a quarters for a nanny, maybe even without a separate entrance. It smells a teeny bit mildewy. It's also just a partial basement. It's just this one little room. And the guts of the heating and cooling, which appear to have been put in an old cedar closet. There's the old furnace. And here is a washer dryer, a laundry area. And there is a teeny half bath with a very cute sink for such a little basement-y half bath where you almost bump your head coming into it. So some people might put a nanny down here, although nanny doesn't have her own shower or her own kitchen. It's really actually smaller than most places I see anybody stick a nanny. If it had a front door and it had a shower, and if you had your own washer dryer upstairs, oh, here's what the real underneath of the house looks like. Because it's not a full basement, it's partial, so that's the rest of the basement for the rest of the house. Anyway, if it had had a little more going on down here and its own entrance to the outside, somebody would have rented this to a Georgetown student, possibly a Georgetown Medical School student. They probably would have charged them at least about $1,300 a month. Maybe $1,400, it's a good location. If it had just had a little more space and a semblance of a kitchenette and its own shower, and perhaps a little bit taller ceiling in the bedroom. Things that I think in the bathroom, things that I think you actually can't do here. I don't think there's the room to do them. So, even though I'm very charmed, not by the location, and not particularly by the exterior of the house, but by this first floor, which I somewhat prefer to the first floor of the other house, even though this is smaller. Maybe I just like the bright colors, the fact that somebody put flowers and lamps in it. I understand why the other house is $1.25 million, and this is only 1.1.